Hello everyone, you are welcome to this tutorial. Now this tutorial is on how to create a moulage with waist snatching. Now my waist is a waist of 35 and it is being clinched to a waist of 32. This type of patterns are used for corsets, for tight clothes and all of that. But before we start, I would like to use my dress form to just show you the necessary measurement. Now the first thing is to take the across chest measurement. So from your shoulder point, you're going to mark 6 inches down on your bodice. Then you're going to take it from one side to the other side, the part where you see that is going into your armhole. So that is how to take your across chest measurement for the front. So for the bust, we are going to take from one side of the waist to the other. That's the bust arc. So you measure from one side of your bust to the other side, like where this side seam stop. So you would know on your dress when you measure it from one side seam to the other on your bust line. Now for the hip, what we need is the back arc. You can choose to take both the front and the back, but just like we did for the front, from one side to the other side on the hip, so that is what we need. And for the across chest back, like what you did for the front, you're going to do for the back also. So once you get just this necessary measurement, then you are good to go. So your waist measurement remains your waist measurement divided by 4. Then before we start doing all the snatching and all of that. So this is all what we need for this tutorial. So if this is what interests you, kindly watch to the end. Now I'm going to start. I'll mark 1 inch on my paper. That is just the starting line. So when I roll it, I have my starting line already. So from that point, we are going to start taking all the vertical measurements. Now the neck width and the neck depth I'm using for this tutorial is 3 by 3.5 by 3.5. After that, I'm going to take the shoulder measurement. Now my shoulder is 16 divided by 2, we have 8 inches. Then for the shoulder slope, I use 1.5 inches and I just connect it just the way you see me doing, like that. Then the next thing is to take my chest line. So from the shoulder slope, I went down by 7.5. It is actually 7, but for ease, I added ½ inch. So whatever your chest line is, you are going to measure it. I'm just going to write chest line, and some people, how they get their chest line is their round bust divided by 6, and that is how they get the chest line. So now the vertical measurement is the breast point, the waist length. Now I'm just going to square up those lines. This is me just writing them down. So from the waistline, I went down by 9 inches. That is my hip line, even though my top is not going to get to that point later, but I just want to do this so that in case you're making a dress, you know what to do from there. Now since I got 7.5 inches for my chest line, I'm going to divide it by 3. So whatever that gives me, I'll go over it. It gave me 2.5, so that line now becomes my across chest for the front, across chest measurement. Now when I measure the across chest for my front, I have 15 inches divided by 2 is 7.5. Now let's do calculation for our bust radius. So since my bust is a bust of 44, my waist is 35 and my hip is 43. Now for the bust arc for front is 23. For my hip back arc is 24. Yeah. Now 23 minus 44. That is how I'm trying to get the back arc. So I have 21. Yeah. So for the hip as well, when you minus 43 minus 24, whatever is left should be for your front arc on your hip. So that is 19 inches. Now we are going to divide all this by 2. Yeah. So on the chest line, I'm going to be putting the bust measurement divided by 2. Now I'm going to connect the 3 points together. That's to form my armhole. So after this, I have my armhole ready. Then I'm still going to repeat the bust measurement on the bust line. So for my hip, like I said, the hip measurement, for the waist measurement remains the same. So waist divided by 4, that is 8.75. Now on the hip, like we did the math, I'm using the front arc, that is 19 inches. So divided by 2 is what I got there, and I indicate. So I'm going to connect all the points together. So from the bust line, I connect to the waist. Now from the waist to the hip. Okay, so after connecting, now I'm just going to connect it to the chest line like that. So guys, we are going to be marking for 8. For 8 is the line before half inch. That is for ease, like if you are doing waist snatching, this is what you are going to do. So I put it on the chest line and on the hip line, and I'm going to roll it up like a straight line. So can you see what we have? So for our nipple to nipple measurement, that is our bust dart. It is your bust divided by 8 minus 0.75. So mine gave me 4.75. Now on the waistline, I'm going to mark it. On the bust line, I'm also going to mark. Then on the hip line, I'm also going to mark it, so I can get a straight line. So I went ahead to roll the lines together. Then after that, we're going to leave that for now and continue. So let's go to the back. Then I'm going to mark 1 inch all the way down, and I'll rule it. That is for the zip allowance, or just to get that line. Then for our bust dart, the difference between my front waist length and the back waist length is 2 inches. Always measure your front waist length and your back waist length. So whatever it gives you, you are going to indicate it from your bust line. Then I'm just going to extend all the lines to the back. Now the lines I need to extend is the chest line, the across chest line. Then since I use 7.5 inches from the shoulder slant to get my chest line, I'm going to go up from the chest line of this back by 7.5. I'm going to go up that way. For our shoulder slant, I use 1.5 inches. I'm also going to repeat that from that line. So I went up by 1.5 inch. I'm also going to repeat the neck width of 3.5 inches. So for the back neck depth, I use 1 inch. to get my shoulder, I just place my tape and I mark 8 inches for my shoulder measurement. Then for the across back measurement, I put it on the across chest line and I connect both lines together. For our back arc, bust arc, remember what we have left is 21 inches. So when you divide it by 2, it is 10.5. So that is what I indicated here. And I also curve it, use my curve ruler. So our back armhole is ready. Then I'm going to connect from the neck width to the shoulder slope like that. So for our front waist length is 11.2. Now since we are going to be taking a dart of 2 inches, what we have left is 9.2. So that is me rolling the line. So the difference now between my front waist length and my back waist length is 2 inches. Can you see it? Yeah, so I'm going to put the waist measurement of 8.75 on the waistline. I went down from that waist length by 9 inches. That is the hip length. And I also roll the line. I'm going to be putting the hip measurement on that line. Now for the back arc, what we have is 24 divided by 2, we have 12 inches. So you're going to put that 12 inches on your hip measurement. Connect the lines together. It is pretty simple. So just the same thing we did for the front, you are going to do it for the back. So you're going to put the 4/8 on that point. You are going to put it on the chest line, and you also connect it like a straight line down. Now I'm just writing the chest line, the across chest back, and the hip. So guys, for our back darts, I use 4.75 for the front. I normally add 0.25 for the back. So this back is now 5 inches. Now I'm going to connect it. So after that, now let's get our dart intake here. So from this point where you see me touching, from the main measurement to that line, we are going to be calculating together. So when I take it, it's 3 inches. Now that 3 inches, you place it on the other line for the front and you mark it up to the waist measurement. So the total of what you have, you're going to divide it by 6. So this is me repeating it again for you guys to see. So whatever you have for the back, continue the measurement to get for the front. So I got 4.75. Now divided by 6 is going to give me 0.75. So whatever yours give you is just you're going to take as your dart. Now since it gave me 0.75, I'm taking 0.75 on both sides for the front, and I'm also taking 0.75 on both sides for the back. Now that is 4, so we need 6, so we need 2 more. Now from this waist where you see my tape touching, you're going to take another 0.75. Now for the front as well, you're going to take another one. So that is 3 for front, 3 for back is now 6. That was why we divided it by 6. So by the time you do all your calculation, the total snatching that I did is 3 inches. That's the waist of 35 now reduced to waist of 32. So for our dart length for the front, I went down by 6 inches on the waistline and I connect the dart that way. So we are going to do the same thing for the back. Now for the chest line, you can either come down by 1 inch or 2 inches. But from the back waist, I went up by 6 inches and I went down by 6 inches. It depends on how you want to snatch your back waist. So I think I would prefer you coming down from your chest line by 1 inch. Then you connect all the darts. So guys, to avoid any zip bulge, I went in by 1/2 inch and I'm going to connect it to the chest line. Sometimes I normally do 0.75, and if I want to do 100% contouring, I do 1 inch. So it depends on the style and what I'm doing. So for the down parts, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches on the side seam because I want that part to have that slopey, the side seam of the top. So like I said, I ended up reducing this top length because it was too long for me. So I did 7 inches from the waist length. That was the total top at the end of the day. So this is me slashing the paper into 2 so I can close my bust dart. Now you notice by the time I roll this bust dart up to that point, it is no longer 2 inches, so I had to correct it to 2 inches. If not, it will be a little bit shorter than the side seam of the back. Then I'm closing the darts. So when you close the darts to the bust line, you're going to have shortage. Now this is what we call truing. So you are truing it back. Now I'm using my tracing wheel to trace it to that 4/8 line. Yeah, you have to trace it. So when you trace it and you open it up, you are going to see the line. Only you will see it. You cannot see it in this video. So whatever line it gives you, whatever shape it gives you, mark it. So that is because when you do this now, your darts will not get short. Now I'm going to connect it to, now I'm supposed to connect it to the 0.75 we came out on the waistline. That is the third one. So but I did a mistake. I'm going to correct myself immediately after. Like I said, yeah, I did a mistake, so I had to connect it back to that 0.75. Now you take it to the hip, the 4/8 on the hip. So can you see it? Now I'm just blending that 1.5 inch all the way down. So we have our front ready. Now you're going to cut off your paper. So guys, this is for the front, and we're going to do the same thing for the back. So you connect from the 4/8 to the 0.75 on the waist. You're going to do that to the hip as well. Now I'm going to be cutting this off. Guys, we have both the front and the back ready. Now I'm going to be using this white fabric. It's a cotton, but it's not thick like a cotton, and it's not a calico. So if you want to do something like this, you can use a calico because calico doesn't stretch. This one stretches a bit. So this is me. I'm trying to cut the front. So the front is folded into 2 unfold. Then I'm adding a 1/2 inch to both the armhole, the shoulder, then the side seam. I added 1 inch. On the end there, I added 1/2 inch. Now I did not add on the neckline because I want to see how that neckline is without any sewing allowance. because this is just a practical, not like I'm wearing it out. Now I'm going to be repeating all this line on this dress, so I'm using my pencil. Like I said, I'm also doing that 2 inches. I don't want it to be more than 2 inches, and I mark the midpoint, yeah, so that I can notch it when I'm sewing. I will know. So I'm going to be repeating all these lines. So I'm using my pin to puncture the hole. So for this dart, I'm going down by 1 inch on the breast point. Then for the other dart, I go down by 1 inch because I don't want to sew it up to the breast point, so that it would have, that breast fullness. But if you are doing a dart that you are going to be closing, then you don't need that. Anything you are doing have to stop at the breast point. But because we are sewing this dart inside, so I'm just tracing everything I have on my pattern paper on this fabric, so that when I'm sewing, I want to have a neat sewing. So everything you have, trace it, puncture the holes, then you use your pencil or your chalk. So that is how you sew your darts. You sew that way to where the darts get to. You're going to sew also to where it gets to. Then you sew this other one. So for the back, I'm also going to be adding 1/2 inch on the shoulder and on the armhole. Then the side seam, I'm adding 1 inch. Then on the hem, I added 1/2 inch. So for the zip allowance, I added 1 inch. Then I'm going to cut it. So I did the same thing for the back. I also puncture all the holes. I use my chalk to trace them out. And we are going to be sewing it. So let's go and sew. After sewing the darts, this is what it is given. So I sewed the back darts and I did not tighten, like back stitching the edge, no. So I left a little bit of thread, then I'm going to be tying it. That is how to get a very neat dart line. You don't back stitch your darts, no. You leave some thread, then you tie it just to secure it so it doesn't lose. So this is the front and the back. Now I'm going to be joining the shoulder point together. So after joining the shoulder, I will join and I will iron it and bring it back for you guys to see. So guys, this is it. I've joined the shoulder. And I've also joined the other shoulder. Now we're going to be sewing the zip. Now for this tutorial, because we are doing a waist snatching, I use this zip called SBS zip. It is a very strong zip and very long. So if you are doing anything waist snatching, please look for that zip. It's 500 naira for one. Then I'm going to join the side seam together. Then I'll iron it. So guys, after joining the side seam, this is what it is. And we are done with this tutorial. I'm just going to hem the down part, then I'll just cut a little bit of sleeve and add, then I'll fix the zip. I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.